Hi, folks. So I thought I would do something a little bit different today. I am 10 episodes into my podcast, and I wanted to give you some insights and some info into how the journey has been, the pros and cons, the ups and downs, some of which I expected, some of which I didn't anticipate. And for those of you who are thinking of doing this yourselves, I mean, it really is the simplest thing to start in theory, although the hardest part is actually just starting. I thought it might be helpful for you to get some ideas, some insight into how it's been for me and how it potentially could be for you. What some of the challenges are that you can expect to face, and what some of the payoffs are that you might not have anticipated. So let's jump in. To start off with, I'm going to tell you about why I even started the podcast in the first place. Aside from the kind of more obvious stuff that I'm a recruiter, so I love to interview, I love people's stories, and I'm always hungry for information. I'm an Enneagram type 5, for those of you who know about the Enneagram. And what that means is that I have this unquenchable thirst to know more, to understand more, and to kind of get in between the cracks of things and find out what makes people tick. And especially with my chosen subject matter, which is people in technology, people who are creators and inventors who have done amazing things in the world of technology. So my intention, aside from that, was to set myself a challenge to do something that was completely out of my comfort zone. I wanted to do something hard, something difficult for me. And if I'm going to be completely honest, one of the hardest things for me to do is to be consistent. Those who know and love me know and love me despite the fact, they tolerate the fact that I am extremely inconsistent. And I mean, I can innovate the hell out of anything. Give me a process, give me a project, give me a business, and I'll find a way to do things differently, do things hopefully better, more efficiently. That's what I do best. But what I'm really bad at is seeing something through where there's no kind of excitement, no necessarily payoff. There's no real point to it now. There is actually, and that's one of the benefits, which I'll tell you about. I'll come back to that. But yeah, so consistency. I wanted to challenge myself. I wanted to put myself out there in a more public facing way, because I do like to chat. And I do think that the people that I've invited on my podcast are super interesting and have something of value, some information to share with the world that I wanted to bring to you. So those were my intentions. And yeah, it has been hard, I must say. So to just dive into what's difficult about podcasting, Hung Lee actually said to me that the hardest part is just starting. So good for you, go for it. You've done the hardest part. Then the next hardest part, he also said, was to be consistent, was to show up every single week and post that thing every single week. And he's absolutely right, because there are days where you just don't feel like it. No matter how cool and interesting and exciting the person is that you're going to be chatting to, there's days where you just don't feel like it, and you can find excuses. There's always an emergency or an illness or a work thing that's come up or whatever it is, some other priority. There's always a way to make an excuse, but I'm really proud of myself for having shown up. I promised myself that I would post a podcast every single week for a minimum of 3 months. I need to set the bar quite low because I know how difficult this is for me. So this is a learning exercise. So that's one of the tough things about it, is that you really don't always feel like doing it. Also, the preparation, you need to understand something of the person. Luckily, this is what I do for a living, right? Is researching. So looking up at somebody's CV, looking up their profile on LinkedIn, doing some research on the web, just to see the web, the internet, showing my age there. The preparation, I find that a little bit, that can be, it can be tedious, but it can also be really, really interesting, because you'll find out things about people that are not even remotely related to what you thought you were going to be talking about. So yeah, pro and con, I guess. But the additional time spent, the additional work that needs to be done in order to make it anywhere decent. So I also set the bar quite low for myself in terms of jazzing up the podcast and making it super amazing in terms of the thumbnails and like making people click on it and everything. That's not me. That's not my intention at all. I'm not trying to get that happening. I'm trying to get better at being consistent and bring valuable, interesting information to you guys. Those are my intentions. So I haven't learned an enormous amount when it comes to the editing side of things, because I've done that before, and I just use iMovie on my laptop and I keep it really simple, as I'm sure you've seen. And that's me. That's the way that I want to do it. If it ever takes off in a massive way and I can afford to have somebody actually do the fancy, fast, clicky, clickbait stuff, then maybe I'll get there. But for now, I'm happy to just have it basic, simple, two humans having a conversation. So yeah, that's been really challenging. I'm just going to pause quickly because I have a whole bunch of other ones, and I want to have a quick think. I'll be right back with you. So the next one that definitely has been difficult for me has been just being on camera. And I know I'm quite a gregarious person. I'm super chatty, and it's not as difficult for me as somebody who's a lot more introverted, maybe. And I'm used to having conversations with people through Zoom or Google Meet or whatever. So that kind of came naturally. But just the being on camera. So I'm not like a girly girl in that I don't really do the whole hair and makeup thing. But you'll see if you have a look at other videos of me online, I really up my game. And so challenge for me has been giving a crap to actually show up, do the face, do the hair, make myself look presentable, buy the pretty flowers, make the picture look decent. That's been quite challenging for me. If you can hear that, that is exactly the next point that I have here. Interruptions. Working from home has its pros and cons for sure, but I'm sure you guys can relate. One of the major issues has been interruptions, and we all have that, right? I can't, so many times in my interviews when I'm trying to hire people, and they're like, I'm so sorry, the dog, the door, the children, drilling. We've been doing renovations at my place for like a year now, and this is now security cameras being reinstalled. So I'm so sorry. I'm going to have to pause again and wait until they finish, and then I'll be right back. Yeah, I think it stopped. If it starts again, I'm really sorry. I'll have to edit this part out and re-record at some stage. But yeah, interruptions is a huge thing, especially like you've got this high-profile person that you've managed to corner them for half an hour of their precious time, and this kind of thing starts happening. Or, the groceries get delivered or whatever. That's just bad planning when that happens. But you know what I'm saying. Okay, so one of the other challenging things is finding people. People say yes. That's one of the pros, and I'll get to that because I want to sing and dance about that a little bit. But people say yes, that's just amazing. But finding the people that are doing something really, really interesting that is relatable or exciting and interesting, specifically to the tech recruitment environment, which seems to be my audience, which kind of makes sense. That's been a little bit challenging, not impossible, but a little bit challenging, and to keep the momentum up so that I've always got somebody lined up for the week to come. That's been kind of challenging. What else have I got here? Okay, so the final one, because I don't want to turn this into a whole negative conversation about all the things that are terrible about podcasting, but you have good days and you have bad days. You are gonna have shit conversations. Not shit because the person in front of you was crap, but you weren't great on that day. We're human. We have bad days, and I certainly do too. And there's some conversations where I feel not ashamed, but I do feel bad because this is an incredible person and I didn't get to bring out the best of them. I didn't get to look into those cracks because I wasn't on my game. So yeah, so that happens too. Anyway, on to the good stuff. So a friend of mine reached out to me after she saw that I was doing this, and she's got a podcast as well. And she said to me, nobody tells you how fun it is. And she's right. It's really, really fun. For all of the things that I've said that are negative, we now have hammering, sorry. For all of the things that I've said that are negative, what nobody really tells you is that podcasting is incredibly good fun. And it'll be different for everybody, depending upon, who you are and what your choice of subject is and the type of people that you speak to. But the process itself, it's got a joy to it, which I didn't anticipate. So that's been pretty amazing. what it does for your personal brand is quite extraordinary as well. So I didn't do this with that intention, like I mentioned before, but what seems to be happening is because I've put myself out there, there's some kind of strange credibility that comes with doing that. I suppose it's not strange, it's possibly, you're just putting yourself out there. It's your marketing, it's your advertising of yourself. This is who you are, this is what you do. And I've got a lot of keynotes coming up as a result of the people that I've been interviewing, and of course of just putting myself out there. So if you are the kind of person who really enjoys, building communities and being a part of the conversation, being on a stage, then this is definitely a really good way to go, because it shows people who you are and what you're capable of, what your areas of specialization are, and so on. So that's been really nice as well. I'm very excited about those. So to come back to what I was saying before about people saying yes, there's something delightful about that. There's something really, really precious and special about being vulnerable enough to reach out to someone, especially when you're just starting out a podcast and you've got zero credibility. Like there's no benefit in it really to this person necessarily, and I've really appreciated that. It's been quite extraordinary and given me a lot of joy once again, to have people say yes and be willing to put themselves out there on my platform. So that's definitely been a massive sweet benefit that's felt lovely. And as a result of being brave and vulnerable and reaching out with the chance that someone will say, no, I don't have time for that, Nix, like what the hell? I've made a lot of new connections. And so generally the people who I interview will either share the interview themselves on their LinkedIn page or something, or they'll comment on mine. And as a result, their audience and mine and our followers and our networks will actually see that. And as a result, I have people reaching out to me now, which is completely wonderful. Connections. Sometimes I'll go onto LinkedIn and I'll see the people who want to connect with me, and I'm just in awe and humbled, and it's beautiful. And it's made me realize that we're all just people, we're all just people doing our thing, trying to make our way in the world. And so the connections and the potential stories to come, I think, are massive pros of having started this podcast. And then I finally asked the question of myself, knowing what I know now after 10 weeks of doing this, would I have started it? And the answer is a resounding yes, absolutely. So for any one of you who's thinking of doing this, go for it. Not even go for it, just go for it. And if I can assist in any way, please reach out to me. Any questions, I would love to help if there's anything that I can offer you of value. But thank you so much for listening. If you've made it this far, please do subscribe. It's I obviously get a dopamine hit out of seeing another person. There's only 49 people that have actually subscribed to this, but I think about it differently. I think about it like there are 49 people in this world who actually give enough of a crap about what I'm doing here to actually care about what's coming next, and that's just absolutely amazing. So please do subscribe if this has been of any interest and value to you. I will promise to continue doing it for the 3 months, and then I'll check in. I'm halfway, so I'll see you again at 3 months. I'll do another one of these in 10 episodes time, and yeah, hopefully there'll be, I don't know, just some more people that are part of this thing that I'm building. Anyway, I appreciate you very much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Have a beautiful day. Bye.